Hello my lovely people, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and what we are going to be doing in this particular video is designing this beautiful football poster inside of Canva. Everything is going to be explained from start to finish, and just in case you want to use the exact photos I'm using, I've linked all of them in the description box below, so make sure to download them and follow along with me. The name is Benjamin, a verified Canva expert based in Ghana, and without any further ado, let's dive straight into Canva and let's get started. So the first thing we are simply going to do is to create our dimensions. So I come to create design, and I'm going to be using the 1080 by 1350. So to find that, you can just search for Instagram, okay? And this is what we are looking for, the one that comes with 1080 by 1350. So we'll click on that and it should load beautifully for us. After everything is loaded, the first thing we are going to do is to start working on the background. So simply come to background color and make sure you're clicking on add new color. What you need to do is to click here, okay, come into the blues, and you can choose any blue like this. You get it. So the color code I'm using is 41E2FF. That's what I am using for this, okay? Then we just come into gradient, and all we have to do is to make this white, okay? So once you do that, choose the linear gradient, and this is what you should have. And if the color is too bright for you, you can just reduce the color, just to make it a bit darker, okay, of your choice. So depending on what you want, all right? Once we are done, the next thing we have to do is to add the image of our stadium. Okay, so I have it in my upload, so make sure you're also finding yours. So here I am. I found the image I was looking for. So once it's added, we can just increase the size nicely, okay, and just position it here. Then make sure you're coming to edit photo, or simply just remove the background. That's all we want to do. So I'll just click on the remove background over here, and Canva should remove the background for us. Basically, the skies would go off just like what I said. Then you can now increase the size of the image, and we want to hide this part of the image, okay? So make sure you're increasing it to the point where everything is gone. So this is what we have at the moment. Something like this is fine. The next thing we want to do is to add our players. So I'll just come back into my upload and scroll up, okay? And we have them over here. So the first one we are going to add is this one, okay? So once you have this, remove the background, and Canva should just do the work for you. And before you start cropping, make sure to duplicate this. So you can simply click on duplicate, and it should be duplicated for you, okay? Because we want to separate the two players. So this is the first guy we have. So just bring him here, and just make sure you're cropping it nicely and increase the size, okay? So we have him here, and the second player, which is this guy, I don't know his name though, but we'll just assume we know them. I will just also bring him here and increase the size, okay? So something like this, and we'll also send him behind, okay? So all you can do is right click, come to layer, come to show layers, and once the layers tab is open, you can just move this behind. You can move the two of them behind, all right? So that's what we have at the moment. Now we would add a third image. So we'll go back into our uploads, and that is Erling Haaland, okay? So we can also remove the background just like what we did, and we would simply, okay, look at this one. He's okay, so let's crop it and make sure it's clean, and we'll simply just crop him nicely, just to make sure everything is looking beautiful, all right? So that's what you have to do, and increase the size as well, okay? You can increase the size and place him here, and we can also send him to the back, okay, just like what we did. What we want to do is to make sure this guy is the main person, okay? So we have to just ensure that he's the one, he's the main subject. So something like this is fine. I think we've been able to do some beautiful job right now. Now, what I want us to do is to add the extra images. But before we do that, I want us to add some grass over here. So come into element and search for stadium, okay? And there's a particular one I want you to find, a particular image, and I will show you in a minute. So this is the image I want you to find: green grass across the beige red open sports stadium during daytime. That's what I want you to find. So just take your time and search for this image, okay? So now that we have it, we'll just crop it nicely like this, okay? And what I want us to do is to shift the stadium inside a little bit. Okay, something like this is fine. Then we bring this one down here and rotate it to match what we have here. Okay. So just like this, and we rotate it and increase the size. So we can just increase the size just like this. So you can see, even though it's not natural, but it still looks better. Okay. So something like this is fine. And I'll just bring it down a little bit more, just crop it more, bring it here and increase the size. So this is what we have at the moment. Once it's not looking clean, just make sure the rotation is working. Okay. So you can see this is what we have, and I can just move it up a little bit. And yeah, I think it looks good. The next thing we want to simply do is to add the extra football players. So we'll come into uploads. Okay. So once we come into uploads, we have this guy. I think he's called Luis, I'm sure. And we have this other guy. I'm not sure of his name though, but anyway, so let's remove the background. But in this case, once you remove the background, there are two things that can happen. It's either you have him and the football, or you can only have him without the football. So let's try first and see what happens. Okay, so we are removing the background. Okay, and Canva was able to reserve the football for us. And we'll do the same for this one as well. Okay, that is beautiful. Okay, so just put them together over here, and they don't have to be too big. Okay, so you select the two of them and reduce the size a little bit. Okay, and we can have them somewhere here like this, and their head should just, pass the top, or the, I don't know, the fence. Let me just see the fence. Okay, their head should just pass the fence a little bit. Nice one. And we'll flip this guy, okay, so that they are all facing separate directions. Okay, now we can crop their images, and one thing you notice is that all the images look a bit different. This one looks fully edited, and Erling Haaland's image looks a bit washed out. Okay, so we are going to fix that real quick. So first of all, click on Erling Haaland. Okay, then come to edit. In edit, what we are simply going to do is to come to adjust. All right, and adjust, we would first of all come down and increase the contrast and of saturation, okay, and vibrance. These are the main ones, and I think increase the contrast more over here. Okay, so something like this is fine. I think it makes it look better now. So then you can right click, copy the style, paste it on both images down here. Okay, and we can do the same for Luis, and paste it here. So this is what we have at the moment. So now that we have this, I want us to adjust the background color. Okay, so click on the background color, and I just want us to change the gradient type, because the gradient type isn't what I was looking at. So let's use a linear gradient. Okay, so this is what we need. Then come into element and just search for light. Okay, so once you search for light, go into graphics, and there are several light you can choose from, but there's a particular one, this type of light. Usually you wouldn't see anything. Okay, that's how it's going to look. Nothing really over here. So just search for white lights. All right, then what we can even do is just create a new page, bring the light here, okay, and duplicate it. Okay, just make duplicates of the light, and so you can see something like this, and we can maybe just add more. Okay, so something like this, we can select all and group it. Okay, and we can move it back over here. So let's place it over here, and all we want to do is right click, come to layer, and come to show layers. Okay, once we come to show layers, we will realize that this is where the light is, but we will take it back. It should be behind the stadium, and this is exactly what we want. Okay, lovely jubbly. So now that we have all of this, let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, that's nice, and we can increase the sizes a little bit more, and I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Let me just adjust it quickly. Yeah, and I think this works fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. So press T on your keyboard for text and just type Man City. Okay, so Man City, and we are going to make the image big. For this, you can use any font like Anton. So you can use any long font. So we have Anton, or any display font. Okay, so Anton is a cool font you can use, but I'm going to use what I have over here, the Champions Gothic. Okay, yeah, so Champions Gothic, and I'll increase the size. Once I have this, I can just reduce it and change the color to white. Okay, then I can right click and I can come to layer and send to back. So this is what we would have at the moment. Now that we have all of this, I want us to drop everything downwards a little bit. Okay, yeah, so that we can have some more room at the top. And what I'll do is I would move the text to the top a little bit like this. Okay, and make sure everything is centered. So come to arrange and center. All right, once you have that, this is how everything should look. The last things I want us to do is to come to element, and under element we'll search for shadows. Okay, so shadows, and let's come to graphics. Okay, under graphics there are so many shadows you can use. So I'm going to choose this particular one and bring it down here and just reduce, just reduce it and make sure everything is looking good. And we can duplicate it and also, place it here and place another one also here, so that this is what we have at the moment. Now let's add, since we are using Chelsea, we are just going to write Chelsea at the top over here. Okay, so we'll move this to the top and increase the size and just say Chelsea. Okay, so maybe Chelsea versus Manchester City, and I'm just going to change the font for this. So I would use any serif font. So just to make things easy, we'll just search for serif over here. Okay, and we can see we have a number of serifs. So I can use the CMU serif and we'll just reduce the size a little bit. Open this up, then come to spacing and increase the letter spacing. Okay, so you can have something like this. That's nice. Now there's one thing we haven't done, which is making sure the stadium matches, the saturation or the effect we've created. So let's right click on any photo we've edited, copy style, and paste it on the stadium. Okay, so that at least it's also looking good. Now the last thing I want us to do is press R on your keyboard. Okay, and you should have the shape, position it at the bottom over here, then come into color. All right, and come to add a new color, go into gradient. Now set the second color to black. Okay, once you set the second color to black, click on it again and the transparency, make it 100% transparent. Okay, then choose the linear gradient. So this is what you have. After you do that, come into position and set the rotation, okay, to 180. That is what you should have, and this is what we have at the moment. Now if you want to add maybe the Premier League logo, maybe that's something we should add. Come into brand fetch. Okay, brand fetch. You can simply go into apps and search for brand fetch. Okay, but since I have it here, I'll just come into brand fetch and it should load for us. So we have the brand fetch over here, and all you need to do is to search for Premier League. That's all you have to do. So you can just type PREMIER, okay, Premier League, and you should see it over here. Once you click on Premier League, there are a number of Premier League logos you'll find. Okay, so you can just choose the white one. All right, once you choose it, it will be added to your design and you can place the logo anywhere. So you can just maybe place it at the center, on the side, or anywhere you want it. So let's place it here and maybe increase the size just a little bit. Okay, and this is what we have at the moment. I hope you found this video easy and very simple to follow. Just in case there's anything you want to learn, make sure to leave the comment in the comment section. Okay, the name is Benjamin. Always remember there is no limit to creativity, and I should see you in my next video. Peace.